World, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Outlawed Thoughts. This is episode 30, and this is the Before the Florida Trip episode. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me fine because I'm using the shitter mic, the one that I used to use. That's because the other one's packed up, ready for the trip, because we will be doing some shows from Florida. I will have two of the co hosts that we normally have on with me, minus Kareem. But tonight, I will be joined by Kareem here momentarily as he joins. He was getting everything turned on. We have a couple news stories to cover, but today's going to be kind of loose because I didn't get a ton of stuff gathered up. I am going to tweet an invite link to this very stream here momentarily so that people can join in if they want to from the chat, since I won't stream again for another few days when I'm in Florida. But have a couple news stories to cover tonight. Should be pretty fun. Um, we'll start out with the Kanye drama, which I think is interesting to talk about briefly. Um, Kanye put out a string of tweets which got him in hot water. These were things that include I'm going to go DEF CON 3 on Jews, things like that. Comments that in general I don't think we're going to sit well with the social media overlords. So he was swiftly battered over the head. um, and then shortly thereafter came this Candace Owen tweets, which we'll take a look at here. So Candace Owens posts this: earlier today I learned that Kanye West was officially kicked out of JP Morgan Chase Bank. I was told there was no official reason given, but they sent this letter as well to confirm that he was until late November to find another place for the Yeezy Empire to bank. Okay, so this is the letter here. Dear Ye, we are sending this letter to confirm our recent discussion with blank that JP Morgan Chase Bank NA, the bank, has decided to end its banking relationship with Yeezy LLC and its affiliated entities, collectively the company. To provide the company with sufficient time to transition to another financial institution, we will continue to maintain the accounts attached to as Exhibit A, including all related products and services until November 21st, 2022. So, pretty straight up, they're just dropping him and his companies as a service provider from a banking angle. This is very similar, although not too similar, to what we've seen happen with people that float around my area of the internet, or at least shows that I like to watch. People like Dick Masterson and Fuentes, and people in the libertarian slash Republican slash just free speech internet area have been debanked. This is something I think people have seen happen more and more recently. I think it all has to do with the rise of ESG. This is something that Clint Russell and others on social media in the libertarian space talk about. But this idea that through ESG scores, somebody like Kanye making those comments publicly would obviously lower his score, the things that the bank might be willing to have him say publicly for him to be able to bank with them. Now, at some point, obviously, there's you know, a degree of private company that comes into play there, but with ESG, I think that's very much so not the case. I think a lot of these companies are, in a way, only doing it because of the government. And hey, look at that, we got a Kareem.
We got a Leighton.
Hey, welcome to the show. We're just jumping into things. I wanted to get the intro out of the way. We're talking about the Kanye West stuff.
I
So
see.
I was going over his debanking, and I'm going to bring up the
Yeah,
story
I've
right
heard some
now.
things. I guess my question to you is, since you were always talking about, and I'll just get right into it. We get demonetized. But I know you'll say like that's a Jew name or things like that. Apparently, I was watching a show. I watch Anomaly. That's like the one conservative I watch. If you're familiar with him,
Yeah.
I guess Ben Shapiro just got like, he's like, oh my God, Kanye West is saying things that are anti-Semitic. I'm like, okay.
Not really anti-Semitic, and I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. We got into it because I was like, well, okay, like, and I mean I can look it up. We'll look up right now. This will
Yeah.
be fun. I'll look up.
And then I guess George Floyd's baby mama or girlfriend or the chick he had a kid with. I guess he has a 7-year-old daughter. I didn't know that. I guess she's suing him for $250 million because he said George Floyd died on drugs. And I'm like,
because when she takes that to court, you know what they're gonna say? Well, in the court documents, he's on drugs. So by definition, the statement he made was true, whether she likes it or not. That's just the truth.
I guess what she would say is,
definition of anti-Semitic. This is just right here off of the Merriam-Webster. To or characterized by anti-Semitism, feeling or showing hostility towards a discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, or ethnic group. Example: anti-Semitic rhetoric. So, regardless,
anti-Semitic,
Semitic
or Semitic or language groups.
The way that pans out, even under the way that they worded it, he didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, let's define it what it is. To me, Semitic are 3 language groups that I can tell. Yeah. Well, 4: Arabic, Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. I don't know anybody walking around speaking Aramaic unless you get possessed, I guess.
Aramaic is, I think, at this point can be excluded from that list.
Yeah, but yeah, those referred to people in those language groups. Mm-hmm. Unless he directly said Greeks are this or Arabs are this or Jews, like people forget.
He didn't. He just said Jews, and like, well, there's black Jews, there's white Jews, there's there's Indian Jewish people,
there's Arab Jews too.
You're never gonna, exactly. So it's like he was very inclusive in his slang. So I think the way that they have worded this is all wrong, and I think that Kanye himself is just kind of I don't think he's a super intelligent dude. He's very business minded. He doesn't seem to be all there. So I think he can, I think the way he talks and types things is very odd, and it gives people a lot of leeway to put words in his mouth and shit. But he has agreed to buy Parler, which is interesting. I know Parler got kind of abandoned by Trump, so it will be interesting to see if maybe he comes along, buys it, and tries to make it profitable, turn it into something as an alternative.
You want my opinion?
Maybe it becomes like the Black Twitter replacement.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I think all of these.
You want me to? Here's why. Honestly, I think what Elon Musk is doing is a waste of time. What Parler's a waste of time. Truth Social is a waste of time. Why? And you can agree with my perspective or not from a technical vantage point, but I basically what I do outside of my job for freelancing is I review a lot of NFT projects and DeFi projects. If you're familiar with the term DeFi, just decentralized finance. And a lot of applications in the future are going to be blockchain based, built on Web 3. Now, if you're not familiar with what Web 3 is, basically I describe Web 1.0 as like AOL, this, you got to talk to Darth Vader to get online. And then you have like some slow moving applications, and you can do a few things. It was the introduction to the internet. It was the use case, kind of like Bitcoin's the use case for crypto. Then you have Web 2.0, which is what we're on now. Like all these big tech social media companies, you can do more. You can have more tabs open. It's more interactive. You can do more stuff. And that's the interesting aspect, is that, as crypto evolves too, you got smart contracts, you get different blockchains. The next thing will be Web 3, where you'll have applications directly into the blockchain. That has advantages and disadvantages, but I could see Web 3 applications taking this all out, in my opinion. Web 3 could really defeat Facebook. Web 3 can defeat Twitter. It can defeat Parler. It can defeat Truth Social. It could defeat YouTube eventually. Hopefully what I'm saying is making sense. I don't know if you agree.
No, I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I think that the problem a lot of the people in that headspace have, and I see this a lot with the crypto community too, is the time scale of things. I think they think that it moves a lot faster than it does. I think you don't just have the internet and certain people in the government and shit working against you in that space. You'll have businesses working against you. You'll have private enterprise working against it, because ultimately
That'll make it go quicker.
I disagree.
But if you have, here's why this has moved so fast, because I review all these projects. Everybody wants to be the top DeFi dog, and let's just face it. I think any anarcho-capitalist will say that it is principally competition based on human purposive behavior that moves society forward. So governments want, but government, to me, if I'm being honest, my perspective on the elites is they have smart people working with them, but they're generally pretty stupid. Like, I get it. Some of them are good at manipulating certain things. Like they do have money. They do have order followers, but they're generally pretty stupid. I don't consider people like Nancy Pelosi or the Turtle very. So government won't be able to.
I don't think Nancy Pelosi is an elite, and I think that's the point that I made.
Okay, even Klaus Schwab and them, they're not smart enough to understand, or nobody's smart enough to keep up with Web 3, because there's just I'm not. You're not, like nobody is. Even someone with a 200 IQ. Competition will make this go faster, because you'll say, oh, I have an idea for decentralized finance. I'm going to do staking, a liquidity pool. I'm going to add this. Maybe I'll send a free watermelon to your house. I don't know, just goofy stuff. And then eventually someone will like, no, well, I can do this. I can build tools. I can have this. Oh, no, I can have that. And everybody's going to compete. And technology's moved so fast. I will say AI scares me, and Elon Musk has a legit claim to that. But I think based on Web 3, it will move very, very, very fast, because people want to get into crypto. Because let's face it, I'm beating inflation now because of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I do think crypto. I think crypto in itself is a whole mess of issues tied to other things that have to do with outside the currency. And so I think that you have a problem with cryptocurrency where the fluctuations in that market is volatile enough, because it's tied enough to the real world market, that it almost is a detriment to itself.
Is it?
And yeah, because if the fact is it's been proven now, whether crypto bros want to admit it or not, that when the market is doing bad outside of cryptocurrency also does bad.
Not necessarily.
Well, that's
because
what we just saw happen. So you can say
not
necessarily, but we have a measurable scale of time where the market reacted over a 2-year period and did exactly that.
Well, here kind of yes and no. There's some aspects, like goods and services ultimately drive the market, because that's what you live on. Like ultimately, even if I have tons of Bitcoin, if I don't have running water, it doesn't mean anything. So yes, there's an aspect to that. What I will say is this. There's a lot of tokens that, while the United States dollar is inflationary, they are deflationary, meaning they burn their supply, so the price does go up. And what I eventually expect to see, best case scenario for the crash, is it's not actually a crash. You just go to Walmart one day and you're like, oh my God, watermelons are $50. This doesn't work. And then I saw Walmart's picking up on Bitcoin today, so who knows? Maybe they're like, hey, customers, you can buy some of our products in Doge and Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever, and then it goes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think
I'm highly biased.
This is the biggest problem with crypto people, is the way that you just explained that to me makes 0 sense for Walmart, and it makes 0 sense for the surrounding purchasers of that product. The reason why money is the way that it is today and developed into what it eventually did isn't necessarily because of a Federal Reserve, it's because it's convenient. It's convenient for people to have a wallet and carry around a legal tender. Whether it's tied to cryptocurrency, tied to something else, regardless, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is the system you're describing, where people walk in the store and everything is just $50 one day, if that happens, you will have complete and utter chaos in the streets. No one's going to give a shit about cryptocurrency.
Well,
no one's going to care about the computer that's in their house that has the cryptocurrency on it. Like it just like that. Nobody cares about those things. Like,
I've been debating
the real world
too much. Here's what I would say. I'll give you a little bit of pushback because I don't want to come on here and debate anybody else, because I was debating somebody if Somalia was anarchist or not, and I feel like I'm fighting too much with libertarians when I should be fighting with other people.
I think both of our sides right now are libertarian perspectives.
Okay, what I would say is Americans based. Like, I can tell a society in some places, yes, in big cities, yes, but Americans have higher, what I would call civic capital, meaning like in Japan, if you leave like your cell phone on a train, no one's going to steal it. That's like a thing of high civic capital. How do people respect property rights and norms? Americans generally have high civic capital. So I don't see things turning into a Hobbesian sort of conflict if companies can see this problem and get ahead of it before there is something like chaos in the streets. Also, what I will say is Mises and Menger's theory of money describes money as a quintessential praxeological tool, meaning, hey, I don't want to leave my cow at the car dealer. And he describes it on its elucidation for the importance of the fundamental principles of praxeology. So for Mises on Menger's theory of money, it's essentially that it just, like you're saying, it's a praxeological tool. I think it's going to come down to fundamentally companies seeing the most praxeological thing to do, aside from dollars, is if dollars are going down and it's hard to trade gold, which that's the one thing I disagree with, Ron.
This is what the Bitcoiners have lost, though, is what you're referring to is right. Everybody knows the crash is coming, so you need a storage of money.
Yes.
Right? Well, if everybody, and I'm gonna respond to this comment too in the same thing. So JC goes, like Tom Longo said, I would say gold, goats, and guns. So I agree with two of those three, which is goats and guns. The fact is, and I talked about this on a short video, which I just uploaded to the channel a few days ago. I uploaded a few of these with Radner Rants, where I went over why I don't trust investments into gold. Gold and silver are greatly inflated in price, and so the people who are investing in them are absolutely batshit insane. Gold is owned by the federal government. They have the ownership of 3 main states that house the largest deposits of gold. This allows them to have a lock on that market. It's stupid to invest in it. In the same vein, cryptocurrency has proven to claim to be a somewhat non-volatile good storage of wealth. And that is what people have been branding it as. It isn't. And let me explain. It would be if you were investing in it 2 years ago. It is no longer a good storage of wealth right now. It isn't. If you put
Do you know what
your
staking is?
wealth, if you put your wealth, yeah, I understand. If you put your wealth into cryptocurrency as a normal person, somebody who is the guy who works a 9 to 5 job and is in his mid 30s right now and is going,
Close
hey,
to
the
it.
economy's fucked. So he goes on his phone, he reads about cryptocurrency, he downloads Coinbase or he downloads Robinhood, and he starts putting all his money into the cryptocurrency that he chooses, which I'm assuming at this point is Bitcoin, because that's the one the majority of people are going to be investing
No,
in.
actually, no.
It's also the one that is being pushed the majority of time within cryptocurrency media as a whole. And so you end up with a situation where when you measure what Bitcoin has done over the last 3-4 years, you get this impression that it's a good storage of wealth because it's moved upward. But it
Yes,
hasn't moved upward in the last 2 years. In the
that's
last
fine.
2 years, it's either stayed in the same spot or
It's
tracked
actually gone down.
downward drastically.
But
So if you invested your money into that currency, you would have lost money a lot faster than the inflation
you
rate.
didn't lose. You just have to. It's a holding game. All right. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
There's a few things. One, it's the moral thing to do because you're holding it. The nice thing is Satoshi
no
Nakamoto.
such thing as moral when you're dealing with money. That's bullshit.
There is one in one aspect. It has a limited supply, so the Fed can't infinitely print it. So that does prevent them from proxy wars. How would I call medical procedures that do bad things? All these that they can't fund all of that.
Yeah,
So
if they didn't just tax your cryptocurrency, which they do.
I mean, good luck. I can move that from like a wallet to a wallet.
Yeah,
to a wallet.
that's not gonna last, and you know that.
They can't. Well, the IRS told, and I have it in the PA Mises Caucus chat. The IRS said we'll give you $600,000, and I'm sure there'd be no tax. $600,000 if you can crack Monero. Haven't cracked it, so there are ways.
You're
ways
talking
around.
about one cryptocurrency.
The feds aren't that smart, though. The feds aren't that smart.
They're not feds that you're going to be worried about. There are other people in the crypto business who they'll hire to do that. Like that. This is the problem. Like
then I'll go. Then you know what?
Cryptocurrency has to be looked at as exactly that. It is a.
I'll make my own exchange, and I'll say I'm not working with them.
It either cryptocurrency is a bank or it is a currency. If it is trying to be both those things at the same time, it is never going to be successful right now. It can't be. Because the fact is if it is trying to attempt to be a bank, it's the world's shittiest bank. And if it's attempting to be a currency, it is struggling to be a currency because it's focusing on being a shitty bank. And so you brought up staking and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, so many people got completely fucked over just this last year because of multiple cryptocurrency holders who have taken over as basically what these banks are, turned tailing and running, or completely going bankrupt because their cryptocurrency that was safe and effective was based off of nothing. But a bunch of people believed it because there was flowery words on a white paper that made them think this is cool. And it's like, well, that's not what makes a market. It sounding like it works doesn't mean it does work.
Yeah, I get it.
You have to have measurable, like
quantifiable. Yes, I a lot of crappy projects out there. A lot of people that and I've reviewed them probably too that say, hey, we got this, the ecosystem, it's going to take off. We're the next big thing, and they don't. There's also a lot of restaurants that say they're gonna have the best food and this. There's a lot of clinics that say they'll do this. The fact is, I think the best thing to do is take a consequentialist perspective and look at the public choice option. Just because markets fail doesn't mean the government can improve upon it. The government's screwing everyone over who uses USD. The crypto people who are bad screw people over quick. Some of these whales do screw you over quickly, and then it's over, but you still have the ability to go to another cryptocurrency and figure it out. Right now I'm using a mining pool, and I'm doing okay. I'm making 5% a day, which is what, in my opinion, CDs, certificate of deposits, should have done and did back in the day. So the power of staking actually is the way to fundamentally beat inflation that no other asset can do. And while it's most important to have things like Josh suggests in WAM, World Alternative Media, you want to make sure you have some garden. You want to make sure you have some storable food and some potential firearms and self-defense
So
skills.
I'll make
But
an
that's it.
impassioned opinion play here. You can go right now, pretty much no matter what state you're in. If you're in a pro-gun state, you can open up your phone. You can find somebody who's selling, say, a Marlin 3030 or a Model 94 or Smith and Wesson
Yeah.
M500 or some kind of nice something that's all metal, something that's nice shotgun, something that's multi-purpose that takes that has ammo compatibility. Or shotguns are great if they're because you can get twos and stuff like that. But my point is the investment that you would make in that if you'd made it 3 years ago is better than you could have made on cryptocurrency at that given
It
time.
is.
And the fact is that going forward, cryptocurrency has not shown to be a good storage of money right now. It isn't.
Yes, it is.
It How can it be a good storage of money if it's trailing down, if the currency
Because
is massively volatile, and if the rate of money that you can make in the last 2 years is less than what you can do with USD fiat currency?
okay, let me answer those points one by one, and then I actually don't want to keep debating
I know, but I just
the
don't.
returns, but I'll answer the points. So why is it volatile compared to USD? Because Janet Yellen and friends and Jerome Powell and all those scumbags are keeping interest rates artificially low, and we have the U.S. world reserve currency. If the dollar was actually honest, it would go up
Listen
and
to what
down.
Magoo just said. Magoo said, "I'll believe in crypto when they no longer take fiat to
Okay,
purchase it." The reason is
you
because
don't
it's tied to fiat currency. The only
look.
way for you to get cryptocurrency right now, the only way is
That's
for
not
you to
true.
take another cryptocurrency that you purchased with fiat, or another
Not
crypto that was
necessarily.
purchased with fiat, and you can go
No,
down that chain. It can
no.
only get entered in by the mining process, which is done by yourself, and then you can enter it in whatever, or by purchasing it. And the only way to
Well,
purchase it right now on any of the products that people use, 90% of the people who buy crypto are going to buy it from one of the three main services right now, two of which are apps on your phone. Those apps on your phone work through fiat currency and fiat currency alone. So
yes.
that is how people are buying these currencies. It's completely backed by
Let
the
me.
federal dollar. Like if it goes up, if the dollar tomorrow were to be completely worthless, what do you think is going to happen to cryptocurrency? Do you think it skyrockets?
Eventually.
Yeah, see, I think that's delusional because that makes no
No, it
market
isn't.
sense.
It does. Honestly, I would argue if you want a world reserve currency, it should be Bitcoin or Monero. Here, can I address all those claims? I'll address them one by one in the best way I can do. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'll try my best. Was it volatile? Because, or okay, first thing you said is you have to use fiat to get it. No, you can mine it as one way you're saying. You can do something in exchange for it, like do freelance jobs, write blogs, do this. You have to
All
look
of
on the
those,
internet.
everything you just named involves fiat currency.
No, it
Everything.
doesn't.
Yes, it does. How do you
Running a
think
blog,
you're going to mine currency? How do you think you mine Bitcoin?
you get a mining rig,
Right.
but
What does that involve?
you
What do
could
you
buy
hook it
it.
up to? Do you power it with a generator? How do you
No,
get the fuel? How do you get the power? You have to pay for it
electricity.
with fiat
You have to
currency.
pay. Yes,
That's my
correct.
point. So it's
But
all coming from fiat currency. It's all backed by that. If you couldn't use the US dollar to pay your electric bill tomorrow, to do all those things to get your cryptocurrency, the currency would flatline. It wouldn't go up. Like that makes no market sense. It doesn't make sense from a business perspective. That's a paper house.
can I finish?
Yeah, I don't think any, like, if the argument for cryptocurrency is that it's not based off of fiat dollar, you're never going to escape that. Like that's just everywhere that it's ingrained in it. Like
Is it?
it is 100%. How can you get crypto without involving the US dollar? You explain that.
Okay, I'll explain it. One way is doing okay. There are ways, and that is the most common way, I will concede, that you get cryptocurrencies using fiat. And mining, yes. I guess I could make a crazy statement that you get some agorist friends in ANCAP circles, and they do have a generator, they pull it, and you can get that. But
Yeah, you got to buy gas.
fair enough. So you got me there. How would you do it? Well, there are certain things like, how did I start to get it? Well, I do videos, right? That's what I'm good at. That's what I excel at. So I work with people freelance, and I gave my skills, and they pay me in different things. I make presentations, and I do a lot of work. You could write white papers for people. Say, hey, I could write white. You could offer some type of tangible physical skill that you have over them internets, whatever that is, graphic design, whatever it is. And there's a lot of crypto companies coming up. So you offer your skill set, and then they pay you directly in that. So you don't have to do a physical fiat transaction. There are also other ways that you could potentially get it. If you know somebody who is good at trading and they take you under your wing and they do give you some initial cryptocurrency to play with, you can start to build up there. Yes, you could start also with a fiat investment, and there's different ways to do that. As far as its volatility, things in the market to me should be volatile. Everything should be volatile. That's how you know it's real. Toilet paper is not.
Your money storages to be volatile?
Yes. And I'll explain why. Because to me, looking at it from an economic perspective, supply and demand changes from day to day. Nobody wants to read the newspaper anymore. Toilet paper and face masks are not as valuable as they were in 2020. So not that I want, everything to crash and burn or go up super fast. But to me, if the US dollar was honest, it would have a fluctuating value, just like cryptocurrency has a fluctuating value based on market trends. If China shuts down a mining pool or makes it illegal, then it goes down because it reflects the market. To me, it's kind of like a Taoist perspective of you go with the flow of the market rather than try and manipulate it, and you can't out manipulate the market. The market's kind of like water. As far as believing in crypto, when you need, you can also, if you're familiar with the term airdrop, you can get cryptocurrencies from airdrops and things like that. There's a lot of projects that are willing to give out cryptocurrencies, and there's different things like that. And as far as staking to me is what's going to get me to retire early, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm staking Ethereum. I'm mining USDT from a mining pool, and I'm eventually going to stake BUSD and a couple other cryptocurrencies and getting these DeFi projects. And that to me, along with learning how to garden, how to purify water, and shoot a gun, is going to help me survive what's coming through, so I can take out the baddies and get ANCAP Stan and Agorist Stan and ANCOM Stan and Mutualist Stan and Prim Stan working together. And I know I sound like a nut, so I'll just stop.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I just don't think that. I think ultimately that, yeah, I don't see a way to untether cryptocurrency from some form of Fed dollar without it being a catastrophe for the currency.
We could USDT tether.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bad joke. All right, I'll get off.
I think there's a whole mess of problems that could be gone into.
I want to still be your co-host, so I'll stop.
No,
I'll
I'm
stop.
not.
Sorry for
that's
my bad if I ignored you.
It's more of a healthy debate. I'm good with that.
But yeah, we can get back on.
I think that ultimately
Kanye.
it will be. I think regardless, it's going to take longer than people think. I think.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think that.
Your perspective could be correct too. No one can predict what will happen in the market, not even the best analysts. But
I know you did mention Pelosi, and I do have a funny video of her. So.
Yeah. Also, one thing I saw is I go on Band.video to see what I actually look at everything. I look at Jimmy Dore, Band.video, and Roger Stone suggested there should be a ticket Trump West for 2024. I was like, that would be funny. I don't know if it would work, but it'd be funny.
All right, give this a listen.
But in some cases, there's no substitute for experience. And I think that what we have been through with the legislation under the leadership of President Biden, who has done a spectacular job. He's had a better 2 years than most presidents that you can name, certainly in the recent generations.
What?
Tell
He's
me
up
that
so
isn't
good.
the most delusional statement you've ever heard.
She believe that?
Dude, I hope so. She's as senile as Biden is.
But in some cases, there's no substitute for experience. And I think that what we have been through with the legislation under the leadership of President Biden, who has done a spectacular job. He's had a better 2 years than most presidents that you can name, certainly in the recent generations. But
Oh my God.
Dude, that gets better the second time. No, I saw that. That clip is fucking hilarious. I have one more here that was from the same group that I was.
Brandon Brandon did a good job. You know what I'll say he did a good job at? People hate the government more now than ever.
Yeah.
So that's good. I will say this. The one thing COVID did and Darth Brandon's doing that I like is that before, when I talk to people, I'm like, your governor, this, that, and I would talk about Murray Rothbard. They're like, things are okay, Kareem. Why you got to talk about, why you got to bring this up? Why you got to talk about, like, you know, ANCAP ideas? Now they're like, oh, okay, you want to get rid of the government? Like, I'm like, yeah, oh boy, yay. And then I'll sit down. I'm like, so here's how you could do this. Here's how private police could work. Here's how roads could be maintained privately. Here's Walter Block's essay. They're like, oh, okay. So that is nice.
I feel like shit because I definitely missed it, but Hector's chat was not in the restream chat window, but I just checked YouTube, but he did leave a chat in the beginning of the stream.
What he say?
How long is that flight from Alaska? Tell me about the Alaska LP candidate for governor. And are you both coming to Florida Freedom Fest? So, no, Kareem is not going to Florida Freedom Fest.
No, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm sad, but I just have so much to do here. I actually do want to interview Hector, Eric Gerhardt, stuff like that, but I will go to the next because I haven't met you yet. The only guy I interact with, other than Luke Radowski, on his forum that I haven't met. So I really do. Let me know when the next event is after this one, and I'll come.
Yeah, we will. We'll work out. We'll work out one.
Well, I'll meet at Pork Fest.
Yeah, and then on the second question there, the flight from here to Florida with the layover is like 14 hours, 13 and a half hours.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Yeah, Chris Bai is the Libertarian Alaskan candidate over here. And people can check him out. He's awesome.
Does he believe in that word that starts with an A?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh. Is he an ANCAP?
No. Oh, no. I don't think he's an ANCAP. No, he is a libertarian. No, I just don't know. Tom Wood's 3000th episode meetup. Yeah, I will probably be at Tom 3000. I'm not sure when that is, but
I'll try and go to that.
Event. I'm sure I'll be in an event before then.
I'll go there and hang out with Jack and Foe.
Yeah. So this was an interesting clip. Reporter, 18 months ago when the president took office, inflation and gas prices started rising. And this is the response.
What about 18 months ago when the president took office, inflation and gas prices started rising?
Well, 18 months ago, the president signed the American Rescue Plan more than about back in April of 2021. And that helped the American people. That helped start reopen small businesses, that helped reopen schools. That was something that was so critical to meet the moment that the American people were going through.
What about 18 months ago?
So this is the delusions of the government at this point.
Hey man, Darth Brandon's doing a great job, Jerb.
Oh, I was at his 2000th episode.
Oh, nice. Was it fun?
Yeah. Oh, it was a good event.
Did you burn an index card?
No, It was a blast.
I actually asked him. I went up to Tom. I'm like, Tom, if I set fire to the index card of allowable opinion, but it's somebody else's, have I violated private property norms in the NAP? He's like, come on, bad joke, but yeah. If Tom Woods has a meetup, I know he just barely did his 20.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
But if Tom Woods has a meetup, I know he does meetups at his house, though. I do believe he does.
Yeah, I know. I hung out with the Tower Gang guys at that event too. I think I have pictures with most of them.
How about Legion of Skankfest? You just come there and they
I
roast
was
you.
gonna go to that this year, but I am gonna go see Big J Okerson on the 21st, just in a few days. So.
Who's that?
Big J Okerson's one of the people on Legion of Skanks. He's doing a comedy show in Orlando, and since I'm already going to be over there, I got tickets for me and my dad to go. So we're going to see him. And yeah, no, I was roasted by the Legion of Skanks and Shane Gillis because I was one of the top 5 contestants on the Legion of Skanks top 5 ugliest skank fans, like 2.5 years ago. So there's a baby-faced Leighton with no facial hair or nothing.
Yeah.
That submitted to that competition and won. I have the video up on my Twitter and stuff.
Just so you know, you're one of the best-looking co-hosts I know.
Germany's cybersecurity chief fired following reports of alleged Russian ties.
Okay.
So this is Germany's got a real handle on things, guys.
Well, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because they got rid of their nuclear energy and fossil fuels, and they're all going to freeze to death.
Yeah, well, this guy has no hair. He's going to freeze faster than most. But
apparently,
German Interior Minister Nancy Fraser sacked Arne Schlocklenborn, the head of the federal office.
His name's Nancy? What? He's a dude.
No. She's the girl who fired him. His name is Arne Schossenborn. The immediate effect with his duties as spokesperson for the ministry told CNN on Tuesday after recent media reports alleged he had links with people involved with Russian intelligence services. So this motherfucker was working with Russian intelligence, and he's the guy in charge of German intelligence.
First of all, to me, someone's like, "Oh, you're a Russian asset." I'm like, it's like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's like, okay, fine. Like what? Like they called Rand Paul. McCain called Rand Paul a Russian asset. Tulsi's a Russian asset. Trudeau called the truckers a Russian asset. To me, just like, how can I insult somebody? Like, let me look through my liberal handbook. Oh, you're racist. You're sexist. You're transphobic. Oh, none of that works. Okay. You don't believe in climate change. Like, I don't. Oh, you have ties to Russian asset. Like, I wouldn't. People have said Elon was a Russian asset, even though he's helping them the Ukraine with Starlink, which I disagree with. And he called for a peace thing.
Yeah, man, fuck him giving the Ukrainian Starlink. That shit made it so that Alaska didn't get access to it sooner. We were supposed to get it in 2022, and he had to fucking postpone that shit because those guys.
No, that's good. You don't want it.
They're complaining about it.
You don't want Starlink.
Dude, Starlink, if you have an RV, is the shit. You can like drive around and keep constant internet. If you're a streamer, that's like the goal.
I'm going to get John Zerzan on this podcast. I'm going to get the nice black and green flag and scare everybody.
I heard that he pulled Starlink from Ukraine for the most part, or at least
you better pull it from the United States too.
Fuck off.
No, I'm serious.
No, I like that. Why is that a problem?
I'm going anarcho-primitivist right now. I'm going from ANCAP to ANPrim.
That's no different than any other. It's no different than any other SANCOM or satellite system. We've had the exact same stuff primarily since the 1960s.
Yes, I know.
It's like nothing new. I don't know. Like that side of things is I don't know. It's kind of like the people freaking out about the 5G stuff, which just doesn't make sense to me. Because
it does to me.
The actual science on it, it's like This is not really that big of a deal. They're all crying because some science was done and some study was done in China specifically to try to turn it into a weapon. And they're like, we can't use this now. And I'm like, everything you use in your life was at one point designed to be a weapon. Most of it was. Most of the components that we use in things were at some point got there because it was a weapon. So you're not going to use what, copper now or steel either because
I'll
people
use
turn
copper
that
and
into
steel,
weapons?
but those
Like,
copper and steel don't emit EMF. Like I have EMF protection stickers all over my stuff. I wear a shungite.
yeah,
And
I
then
think a lot of that stuff is hooey, so I think it would turn into another argument. But
I, as much as okay, I disagree with damage of public property, but I think we should assess 5G and say we're not going to do it. And
I think if you think just from any legal or any scientific perspective or any religious perspective that it is damaging you, then in any court of law or any perspective that you believe in, you'd have to put forward evidence of that. And
there is evidence.
Right now, there is not a shred of fucking evidence that 5G is hurting anybody or that
There,
these things are killing people. And the people that it are should sue, but that's a couple
okay.
people,
Well,
not
okay,
the whole population.
but okay. I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat that I don't have. So tinfoil hat. Your computer, your cell phone, everything that's emitting radiation at certain levels, creates EMF.
Yeah, my
EMF,
grandmother's used a cell phone since they came out. She's
yes,
still here. She hasn't had cancer.
I get it.
So I don't like the
What-
this is this part this I've heard this exact description from hundreds of people on the internet and it doesn't work. Like the fact is no, there's EMF and things electromagnetic forces emitted from just about everything on the fucking planet. There is EMF that comes from
Depends how
the
strong it is.
tiny bit of rub that happens between two rocks under the surface
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
planet.
Everything has
The
an electrical
earth
thing. It just
itself gives out EMF. You're constantly, no matter where you are,
you have an
you're
electrical
around.
charge to keep your heart moving. That is correct, but the certain frequencies they're on do over time, not instantly. Your cell phone's not going to kill you. That's not my. But I will say this: over time, it seems to me there is free radical damage due to EMF, and they've done studies where dudes, and I've seen this study continuously done. If you want to, if you want to maximize fertility, then they recommend either putting your cell phone in this pocket, your back pocket, or if you put it in your front pocket, putting
And
it
you know
in
what
an
they also
airplane
tell
mode.
you? Not to get MRIs or go near large magnets because
Yes,
that's
correct.
logic. It has
Correct.
nothing to do with the EMF being emitted, and everything to do with your phone has a bunch of magnets in it.
I honestly think it's both.
When you open your package, if you buy, I have a Samsung Note or Samsung Fold 3. When you
I
open
have
the
one,
package,
but
you know what
there's
it
an
says on
EMF
it?
sticker on back of
It
it, and I have a
says-
defender case.
It
If I
says
put it in my-
right if Kareem, what I'm explaining to you is if that EMF sticker worked, your phone wouldn't turn on. That's what I'm explaining to you. What I'm trying to get through to you is EMF, the way that they explain it, makes no logical sense. It can't work the way they tell you it works. Because if it spread in that way, right? What are you trying to do with that sticker? You're trying to displace the EMF, the electric magnetic field that's created by your phone, right? Your phone, if you read the fucking paperwork that they give you with it, says on it not to put it near magnets because it has magnets in it. And so if you
Yes.
put it near magnets, the magnets that are in the phone will displace and you'll lose the data. Your phone will not function properly, right? That EMF
Correct.
sticker that you have on the back of it, in order to do what it is saying it does, would have to disrupt those very magnets that are creating the force in the phone.
If it's
It would make
specifically
the
from the
phone
magnets and
inoperable.
not the frequency, I don't think it makes it
The
inoperable. It just makes it less.
The frequency is everywhere. There's nothing a sticker can
What?
do about that.
But cell phone companies also saying, I've read this in the print, don't keep it next to your head or your body for elongated periods of time.
Again, that's just logic for anything. Would you sleep with a microwave next to your head?
No.
Okay, then you wouldn't sleep with your phone next to your head because it also has magnets in it. Your microwave has one gigantic 4,800 pound pull weight or some shit, the older ones, magnet in it. That's what's in it.
Correct.
So it's the same logic, right? Like you wouldn't put a microwave next to your computer because it has a magnet in it. So I think in midichlorians, yeah, it's this is what it turns into. Like it is the antithesis of sham science. It's for making money. Like it's all the whole thing. It's all been turned into making money.
I'm not, to be fair, I'm not a physical scientist. I just play on computers.
It's nothing to do with science. I'm not a scientist, dude. I'm just using
Yeah,
logic.
right.
I'm telling
using-
you, you're like that thing. You buying into that is somebody taking advantage of your wallet and getting you to vote incorrectly with your dollar. And I'm calling it out. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's it's.
I
to me,
disagree, but we can move on.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, well, we don't just move on. You can discuss it, but it's like I don't like. I just don't.
The hard part with this is to actually argue on it. I don't. Here's what happened after the scary beer flu messed me up pretty good. I had like everything. I had every ailment you could have, basically.
Right.
I was pretty sick, and I didn't even get the sticky pokey, but everything else. There's mold in my basement, heavy metals, all that stuff, and then I started to really research health, and I looked at it from the state of primarily biohackers, not necessarily doctors. And I read and EMF did come up, and I decided that was something I was going to look into, and I have certain opinions about it, including Starlink and 5G towers. That was probably the one time as a libertarian I went a little bit off the rails and said, hey, sir, I'm not saying you should destroy private property, but I was okay. I'll say that maybe I was happy the towers weren't around.
Well, okay. I'll put it this way. What the perspective of people who are against this are putting forward is that these things are actively harming them. The perspective I have is not only have people been able to present evidence that it is harming them individually, but they haven't been able to put forward evidence that the thing that they're talking about itself exists in the way that they even explain that it does. And if both of those things cannot come to a head, then I don't see how you can actually put faith or belief into something that has not, like, again, like, you have to understand, like, we all understand, like, how a magnet works, like, so, and how these forces, like, logically work, and I know that EMF exists in a way, obviously, and I think that they have capitalized on the fact that there is an invisible thing that it exists that they can make money off of. And now they have created products around that very thing that doesn't actually exist, like a fucking shungite thing, which I know people who have the stuff. It's absurdly expensive. I know guys who've spent wackadoo amounts of money on this shit. I have one buddy who lives in Colorado who's basically built this entire fucking house into a Faraday cage.
That's awesome. What?
He's still a fat, lazy piece of shit like myself who doesn't do anything. He hasn't gotten any healthier. It hasn't made his life any better. So I just don't like.
Okay, let me say this though. If you're just wearing like EMF pendants and you're still like kicking up the Mickey D's and not drinking water and not exercising, that's still pretty bad. The biggest things to do, regardless of all the little stuff like this, is drink water, exercise, get enough sleep. Then if you want to do additional weird stuff like I do, like ice packs or red light therapy or chelation or earthing, those stuff, and yeah, go for it. I am more, as you can see, on the alternative.
Get in touch with nature and walk around barefoot and do all that stuff. I'm into all the hippie stuff like that. But just like the hippies get into the crystal shit and start talking about how you're going to repair your chakras with this fucking stone and I'm going to wave this sage over your head and it's going to cure all your problems. They're also full of shit and also trying to sell you something. Like, they're trying to sell you those crystals and they're trying to sell you that sage. Like, we all understand capitalism. So I don't understand why we are looking at this as though it's transcended capitalism.
Hey, man, what you got to do is get in touch with
some grass.
Hey, man. Leighton, have you erased your past life regression?
Will magic Mormon underwear protect my fertility from EMF?
I'm going to be like the nut in the Mises caucus now, because people are going to watch this.
I don't think it makes you nut. I think you've been sold on a product that doesn't really do anything. But, I mean, that's Ask Black Mutualist.
You know what? I like Mutualists, though.
Oh, that guy is a grade A buffoon. That guy is a
I don't know who it is, though.
Simp to the 20th degree. I don't know. Did you hear mine and his bitch fit on Tyler Yonke's show?
I have not.
Oh, it's fucking great. I will send you.
The only show I've seen you on lately is Adam Nutters.
Oh, I went on Tyler. I've been on Tyler's show a few times. I was on Joshua Smith's show. I
want to be on Joshua Smith, but he said I had to go to Idaho, and I'm like, man.
I was on right before he got the studio.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like, though, because I wish he was just like, if he put all the, I'm not criticizing if that's how he wants to do it. That's how he wants to do it.
I think to really grow, he needs to be in person.
Okay.
Like, once you get to 10, 15,000 subs, you really need to have like a studio. And as far as the libertarian space goes, there's not enough people who look professional. Like, as good as as much as I like this show right now, it's not like professional the way that I want it to be. Which
you'll get there. I'll write some scripts.
The next topic, which is
I'll be doing the script writing for you. We'll get some daily shows. We'll do some good. What you want to do, though, is ask your hippie friends about the law of attraction and manifestation so you can get that faster and visualize it from a first-person perspective, preferably before you go to sleep.
Okay. I'm still waiting to go on Tyler's show to retort Black Mutualist. Yeah. So Black Mutualist kind of outed himself as a simp while we were on Tyler's show because he's like, yeah, I did. We were in this fucking argument. We're screaming at each other, and he just admits that he was like dating dating an escort who was for 2 months, but he didn't actually get the fucker. And I was like, so you just simped for a prostitute for 2 months? Like, that's what that is. Like, that's what that means. Like, this stream is gonna make Barbie take
subjective value, I guess.
If this stream can successfully drive people to drug use, I feel like I've been successful.
Yeah, but you know what the problem with drug use is, Leighton? Your chakras won't be in line.
Fuck your chakras.
Hey, man, what if you have blockage in one of your chakras? There is legitimacy to Ayurvedic and
yes, he tried to brag about dating a prostitute. That was weird. Exactly what happened.
But the chakra system is a thing.
Dude, Toad was on fire on that podcast. Toad was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. It was one of my favorite episodes, and it went completely off the rails. Dude, the episode was being hosted by Tyler and Garbage Man. And it went completely off the rails. It was like, well, so like everybody talks about this show being chaotic, and in the chat, that's become kind of a conversation going on. I kind of like it that way, and I know people get mad about it, but I don't think very in a trained way. My brain's all over the place. So.
Same here.
Asshole chakras. Your asshole chakras, Kareem really gets up there and makes sure he gets those ones aligned every couple days.
Yeah, you know how I do it? I just look and I say, all right, how many taxes?
What show is that? I'll bring up the episode so that people can go right to it. It's Libertarian Podcast Review on YouTube. But it is priceless. And if you want to get to the good part, just skip forward to when I do my minute. And then from there on is when it really starts to get fun, because Adam Nutter does a minute, and then it all went south from there. And what's funny about that is that episode, my minute was on fat supremacy, and it was a great little rant that I went on about why our culture is destroying dating for fat men, and why they're stealing all of the skinny women from us and making them fat.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. I hate it. So 2.5 hosts, Tyler.
Hey, Leighton, you know why dudes is being chunky?
Why is that?
Their energy centers are messed up. Gotta find a Reiki expert.
I swear to God, Kareem. Okay, I found the episode. So this is the episode right here. This is when I was on Tyler's show. So this was we do some dick measuring kill pod episode 5. God, this is over 100 views too. JC was there. He was in the chat. Chat doesn't lie. So at this point, me and Beck we're in.
But no, because these people you can have an agent in comedy, and bottom you can just tell.
So you can hear how that conversation went by the sheer microphone quality of it. But yes, it was a bitch fit, and I suggest everybody go listen to it. It was pretty fun. So here's the thing, and Benzo Barbie, we will. My theory for fat supremacy is simple. The way that this circle jerk has happened is that the culture tells fat women that it's okay to be fat, so they remain being fat. But skinny women, which is the guys that see, this is there's a dating hierarchy for fat guys. Fat guys date skinny women because they can't really date fat guys. But fat guys target skinny women who didn't start out skinny. Either they need to be ugly and skinny, or they need to be someone who was fat and then got skinny. That is the dating hierarchy. I'm just this is the reality of the world. I'm just laying it out how it is.
Well,
what happens is the culture tells fat chicks it's okay to be fat, but it also tells the skinny chicks to get fat. Yeah. And so all the skinny chicks are getting fatter, which are removing them from the dating pool for fat guys from a physical aspect, and then it's destroying the already fat dating pool because they never feel the urge to get skinny because the culture's telling them to stay fat. And so fat guys don't have anybody skinny to date. And so they just, don't date anybody.
What?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm outraged that bringing this up. That reminds me of 2 stories. I'm so outraged that Lizzo played a flute. I'm so mad. Okay.
Nah, I don't give a shit about that. Fuck Madison.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Although I like the British redecoration of the White House. I know that's going to get me in trouble. But what kind of brought this to mind was I think Sydney Watson, who's more of a conservative influencer, she's Australian and American, was complaining that she had to sit between 2 people who spilled over into the seat so much so she couldn't get the tray down or move, and she was uncomfortable.
I read this.
And then that brings up the question, and I guess from an ANCAP perspective,
I want to give my perspective on this.
If you go on a plane ride, I said something that was bad in Matt Walsh's comments, but maybe I agree with him in the sense that, okay, if you're too big to encompass 1 seat, should you get first class? Should you be forced to pay for 2 tickets? Or should you just not be allowed on a flight till you don't be one with the butter no more? Or if you do get on and someone's uncomfortable, should that person be compensated for, I don't like the word reparations.
Well, I think eventually if it gets to a size thing, you should just have to buy 2 seats. Like, if you're legitimately not small enough to fit in 1 seat, then you're fucked. But her situation was different because she was complaining that the guy was going over the armrest, like, which to me, like, is a little bit different than he couldn't necessarily fit in the seat. Like, I think there's a lot of things that could be misconstrued there, because if it just meant he was taking up the armrest, like weaseling into her space, then that's just somebody being a piece of shit. It doesn't really have to do with, like,
here's the hard part. The pictures, and I'm not denying what she said is true or not. What I can extract from empirical evidence of the actual photos is it kind of looks like maybe they were a bit over, but I can't tell if they were
Spilling over.
so.
If they're spilling over the armrest, they need 2 seats. That's my perspective as a fat guy. Because when I fly, I'm very specific about where I sit because I'm a fat fuck.
If you made somebody uncomfortable because of your mass, should they get a refund or something, compensation?
Well, I think they should get, if their flight isn't comfortable, then I think that's on the people who supply the flight. So they might be given a refund, but they might not be. Like, that's going to be up to the business. The same way if they cancel your flight, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they cancel your flight, you don't always get a refund. It might be because of a natural disaster, and they might tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no, they've canceled flights or delayed them before, but then they give me an option. Hey, we'll give you a ticket for this. So.
Oh, I mean, I know, but I'm saying it can happen. Like, there's been plenty of times I've canceled flights without paying people. So it's like, I mean, it's the same thing to me. Like, you might ride the plane and not like the flight, and they might be willing to give you their money back, but they might say fuck you, and you might just be out of luck. Like it's kind of up to their discretion on whether or not they want public, like, you know, whether they want their public business to be seen as somebody who would let somebody be uncomfortable on a flight versus a company that will, you know, publicly shame people for being overweight, which is kind of what they would have to do. And that's why I think it's it's never going to happen. Like,
and would you agree? I'm not condoning everything Jeremy Kaufman's ever said. Let me put a disclaimer here because
I condone everything that Jeremy Kaufman has ever said. The guy's
I like his lizard person commercial, and I like the let's make war gay. Although it is kind of gay though if you think about it, what they're doing. But Jeremy Kaufman made a good point on Tim Pool. He said this symptom of the way travel is, you go through a gate, you got to get laid, got to check in, is a symptom of corporatism, not of capitalism. If it was a true free market,
if it was capitalism, it'd all be open. There would be no TSA.
Flying would probably, actually, you know what? Flying might be like Uber. Like I pull up my phone and it's like fly here.
It'd be Uber with metal detectors.
And I just like hit up a dude and I'm like, yo, he's like, hey. I'm like, hey, I put in my coordinates. Can I go to Puerto Rico? I'll give you $500. He's like, yeah, I got a private jet where I want you. There'd probably be a designated place to pick you up. He wouldn't probably just like land in your backyard. Like, let's go. I mean, that'd be cool. Maybe it does get to that point, but just don't like hit my chickens on the runway. But what I think it would be is there'd probably be like a designated place. Someone just hits you up, private jet, where you want to go. Oh, I want to go to Spain. You got like $1,000? I got $1,000. Boop. All right, get in the private jet. When you want to come back, I'll hit you up on my phone. You got it. So yeah, that's kind of I think the bigger point, which Matt Walsh misses, the Daily Wire misses, and even Sydney and them misses are, okay, I can say, hey, conservatives, I get that you're upset that there's a bad situation, but this is ultimately due to the system of corporatism we have, which limits a lot of competition. And Sidney Watson wouldn't have had to be in this position, or anybody else, or people just in, Coach, because Coach isn't, let's face it, comfortable either way. I agree with Lewis Black. The seats feel like scoliosis. Everybody would be better off if travel were truly left to the private sector. That doesn't mean it'd be perfect, but I think it would be like an Uber type of economy, which would be awesome. Because I don't even believe in like people were mad about the beer flu passport. And they're like, what you think, Kareem? I'm like, I don't believe in passports. And they freaked out. You don't believe? No, I don't. But why do I need a government document to travel if I'm not a criminal? Or even if I am, shit. You let Hillary on a plane. She's a psychopath. So, hey.
Well, what I think is more credible is a business saying you have to have proof of who you are to use our business. And so then you're forced into having some kind of identification. It just doesn't necessarily have to be a passport. Like, I don't believe in that. I do believe a business could say to fly on our planes, to leave this area, you have to prove to us that you're not from these areas.
I don't know if they do that. Like,
Well,
does
they
Uber
could.
tell?
My
They
point is
could.
could.
I feel it would almost be very close to Uber, except with more parameters. Like Uber will meet you at your house. These planes probably wouldn't meet you at your house, but they probably conservative ink types aren't interested in solutions. They just want to grip. I agree with that. To me, they're just like Democrats, but with a different flavor. That being said, Musk is pushing for digital IDs hard. Yeah, he is. I don't think he's the hero of everybody thinks. I agree with him on some stuff, some not. But I guess my thing is Uber has never asked for my ID. They just, hey, where do I pick you up at? Here. The only thing I think would be different in private flying is they probably say you have to meet us at this designated place where we take off and land, because planes do need to carve out a specific place to land. They can't just land in a residential area and kill your cat. So that's the only difference. But I think it would just be like, do you have the money? And it'd probably be in crypto too. Do you have the money? Yeah. Here's like 100,000 Dogecoin. Where do you want to go? Spain. Okay.
Whatever the currency is.
Yeah, I don't even think they care. Like, hey, I'm from Yemen. Okay, cool. Like, you paid me. I want to go from here to here. Boom. Here's my private. That's how I honestly think it would be. Meet me in this place. I'll travel you over. That being said, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay, well, I think we can kind of start to close things out here. I did want to say before the end of the stream, I will be in Florida for the next week for Florida Freedom Fest, which is there. We've got, I think that's pretty much booked out. I'm going to go hang out with Adam Nutter, hang out with a bunch of Florida people. And then we will do some live shows, and I'm going to record some videos there at that event. And then I've got another 4 days in Florida where I'm going to go do some fun stuff. I might record some videos for the channel while I'm out and about there too. We're going to have a bunch of stuff changing on the channel. We're going to be going into a different kind of mode here, or phase 2 for Outlawed Thoughts, which will be what's next. I'll need a license for my toaster. That's a great reference.
Yeah. Oh, and phase 2. I'm not going to make the joke.
I've got some 10-minute kind of explainer videos that we're going to do. I've got Kareem as well as like 2 other people who I'm working out trying to get scripts together and things like that.
We're going to have a Liberty Network, correct? It's going to be like me doing a show, you doing a show. We're kind of how, like, to be fair, kind of how Stu Peters or Band or Conservative Inc. works. Not that it'll be the same, but that's what I think is actually effective is you have like Leighton's Corner, and Leighton does like the funny stuff like, oh, did you hear what Kanye said? And I'll talk about like Yemen and Ukraine because for some reason I like to talk about crazy, or I can talk crazy over. And then Shannon does her mom podcast, and CD does her thing too. So I think
I have a lot of ideas, a lot of people I want to get in contact with, try to get things kicked off. I have a lot of content and stuff that I want to try to get made for the channel and put out, but everything's going to take time. When I get back from Florida, I'll have some more time to lay out a schedule and get stuff edited. I have a lot of stuff I'm going to start editing for other people and taking that more seriously, so there's a lot of stuff going into that. Yes, I know I've been trying to do that too, but yeah, we will we'll cover everything here over the next few days, and I will see you guys over in Florida. Go hit us all up on Facebook and Twitter and follow us. Subscribe to the channel. I need to get to 100 subscribers to be able to do certain things on Odyssey and other platforms. So if you can share the video, share the stream, clip it, share a link to it, do whatever you guys want, have fun, but subscribing is appreciated. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Yes, reviving whiskey and tea. Yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Take it easy. Peace.